raise concerns in Mexico. The specific worry that the Trump administration might use U.S. military force on Mexican soil to combat the cartels. The foreign minister says Mexico will never accept any action that violates their national sovereignty. Jack Riley is with us this morning. He spent 3 decades at the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration. Mr. Riley, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you and good morning.
Good morning and happy Thanksgiving. So based on your long experience, is designating drug cartels as terrorist groups, is that a wise idea?
You know, this is something that myself and others have been advocating for a number of years. I think I even discussed this during my congressional testimony in 2016. I think it's a game changer. Clearly, the cartels, with their financial backing and the death and misery that they've caused both in Mexico and the United States, at least in my opinion, meet the threshold as a terrorist organization. And I think this shows real leadership on the part of the president. I commend him, and I hope we can get it done because it's a game changer.
So let's explain what the criteria are to meet the definition of a terror group.
Well, normally the considerations are some ideological way of operating. And I think if you look at the cartels as we know them today and over the last 20 years, the disregard for the rule of law and the institutions that support the rule of law, and really the control of an illegal economy within a democracy, certainly in my mind meets the criteria. If you look at some of the other criminal organizations that have been designated terrorist organizations, Hamas, clearly ISIS, Al-Qaeda, and even the Sparks in Colombia, the difference there is those organizations rarely operate on U.S. soil. But if you look at the cartels, they're in virtually every corner of this country, in every city, small and large, urban and rural. And I think that constitutes a real national security threat.
So what does this look like then? I mean, you've already got Mexico saying we don't want to see the U.S. military here. That's where their mind is going, that this is going to turn into some kind of military operation, and there could be drone strikes on Mexican soil. Is that what this would mean?
No, I don't think we go to that extreme. What this does is bring additional resources, interagency cooperation in terms of all the agencies, intelligence agencies, and our U.S. law enforcement agencies. It provides additional resources and training to our Mexican counterparts who would be involved in these types of operations or coordination. And I think at that level, we could see some substantial damage done to the cartels without military intervention.
But what you're talking about is getting our U.S. agencies to work together more. I mean, hasn't that already been happening?
It has been happening, but there still is a lack of resources. The other thing this designation does is it opens up some different law enforcement tactics that we could use and also be able to use more widely than we are today some of the laws relating to terrorist organizations, so that we could bring to justice in the United States more of the cartel leadership and the people that are really calling the shots down there.
Are you concerned about what kind of damage this could do to the diplomatic relationship between the United States and its southern neighbor?
You know, that's one of the things that has concerned me the most. You know, 15 years ago, when I was leading the DEA office in El Paso, we really had very little communication with our Mexican counterparts. We have really built bridges. You only have to look at the capture of Chapo Guzman. We would have not been able to do that without their help. And I think there's a good working relationship there. This would bring additional resources and training and coordination, which I think is necessary.
All right, Jack Riley, longtime official with the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration. Mr. Riley, we appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, when you go to the doctor for routine care, often the physician or the nurse will ask other questions, right? Do you have guns at home is one of them. Or have you been feeling depressed? There's a new question that hunger advocates have been pushing. Do you have enough food? Since the answer is so often not really, clinics and hospitals have started stocking their own food pantries. Blake Farmer of radio station WPLN in Nashville reports.
Lashika Taylor is the administrative assistant at Connectus Health, a federally funded clinic in Nashville. And this month, her office transformed into a community cupboard.
Peanut butter, greens, oatmeal,
Taylor now doubles as pantry manager. It's mostly non-perishables at the moment. Clinic co-director Suzanne Hurley says it's not that patients are starving, it's that they may have a lot of food one day and none the next. That's no way to manage a disease like diabetes.
I can prescribe medications all day, but if they can't do the other piece, which is a decent diet, you know, just knowing that they're not going to have to miss meals and things like that, because medications have to be managed around all of those things.
Food insecurity, as it's known, has become a particular concern among seniors. The anti-hunger group Feeding America found more than 5 million older Americans don't have enough food to lead a healthy life, a figure that has doubled in the last 2 decades. And in response, food banks are increasingly meeting seniors where they get their health care. Hospitals from Utah to Massachusetts are sending patients home with food. At Nashville General Hospital, Trudy Hoffman receives monthly infusions and now groceries.
They just asked me did I want a bag of food to carry out one day, and I said yeah.
The public hospital calls its pantry a food pharmacy because cancer patients might pick up high-calorie superfoods to keep their weight up. Hypertension patients choose from shelves with low-sodium staples. Vernon Rose, who oversees the hospital's charitable foundation, says no one is surprised to see dozens of patients using the pantry each day.
Because when you're in a place like ours where 40% of the folks can't even afford their health care, you can imagine the choice they're making about food, pharmaceuticals. I need to get to work. I got to pay for this bus ticket at the expense of something else.
These pantries operate mostly with private grant funding, so Rose says the biggest challenge now is keeping them fully stocked with important but more expensive items, like fresh produce. For NPR News, I'm Blake Farmer in Nashville.
That report comes to us through our partnership with Kaiser Health News and WPLN. This is NPR News.
You're listening to Morning Edition on KCRW. Ahead on Morning Edition, music commentator Miles Hoffman talks about the things some famous classical composers were not thankful for. And airlines are dealing with record traffic this Thanksgiving break. They expect more than 31 million people to fly this year, and they've been adding hundreds of extra flights to get us all where we want to be. That's especially tough for airlines that use the Boeing 737 MAX, which have had to make do with fewer planes since the MAX went grounded. Or are they pulling it off? Those stories coming up on Morning Edition.
KCRW sponsors include Montecito Bank and Trust, committed to helping clients invest for retirement, provide for their family's future, or contribute to their communities. More at montecito.bank/wealth.
Giving Tuesday is just one day out of the whole year when people come together to support causes they care about. I'm Ari Shapiro, and on this one special day, we are asking you to support this NPR station. Whether it's your first time or you already give and want to go the extra mile, thank you.
Your support keeps NPR and KCRW thriving, and we'll have a lot to cover in 2020. Be part of Giving Tuesday with a donation at kcrw.com/join.
Tomorrow on Press Play, filmmakers, fans, and fellow artists pay tribute to some popular music icons.
A person's music is a very good window into their soul.
The band members were on board because she was a strong musician.
It's the range of that voice that is the thing that's kind of captured people's imaginations and has been a real enduring thing.
It's like the American Beatles. You don't talk to them.
I'm Madeline Brandt. A very musical special Press Play tomorrow at noon on KCRW.
Good morning, I'm Steve Inskeep. Dairy farmers outside Moscow know your mood is vital. They're outfitting cows with virtual reality headsets. Instead of seeing the gloomy Russian weather, they see green fields and summer sun. Farmers hope the pleasant weather will improve the milk cow's productivity. Now, it's not clear if that is working, but the cows apparently do feel less anxiety. The technique builds on the work of farmers in other parts of the world who use mood lights and music. It's Morning Edition.
Support for NPR comes from this station and from Progressive Insurance with the Name Your Price tool.
offering a range of coverage and price options to choose from. Now that's Progressive. More at Progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE. And from Ancestry, supporting the Great Listen and StoryCorps' mission to preserve and share humanity's stories in order to build connections between people and create a more just and compassionate world. Ancestry.com/NPR.
It's Morning Edition from NPR News. I'm Steve Inskeep.
And I'm Rachel Martin. Over the years, commentator Miles Hoffman has been here on Thanksgiving to regale us with stories behind important works of classical music. Usually, Miles gives us reasons to be thankful in the process. Today, though, he talks about things famous classical composers have not been thankful for.
The things, or people, that composers have probably most often not been thankful for are music critics. That's the music of the German composer Max Reger, Sinfonietta Opus 90. The piece got a bad review at its premiere, and Max wasn't happy. Perhaps the most famous response to a bad review is the letter that Reger sent to the music critic who reviewed the Sinfonietta. "I am sitting in the smallest room of my house," Reger wrote. "Your review is before me. In a moment, it will be behind me." Composers are thankful for good reviews, of course, but it's the bad ones that are harder to forget and that rankle. Then again, if we're talking about rankling composers, we shouldn't forget the great divas of the opera world. Some people think the world should be thankful for them. Music from The Barber of Seville by Gioacchino Rossini, who gave singers plenty of opportunities to show off their talents, but who didn't have much patience for singers whose pretensions got the better of them. The composer and the poet are the only serious creators, Rossini once wrote. Some skillful singers occasionally try to show off with additional embellishments. If this is to be called creative, well and good. But it is a form of creative work that is quite often unsuccessful and frequently spoils the composer's ideas. One thing that composers have sometimes not been thankful for is other composers. That's the tenor Jussi Björling singing Adelaide, none other than Ludwig van Beethoven. I confess I love that song, but Claude Debussy didn't. Here's what he said about Adelaide. "I think the old master had forgotten to burn this song. You have to place the blame for its exhumation on the backs of his overly greedy heirs." Now, to be fair, there's no question that Debussy recognized Beethoven's greatness, but he could also be pretty snarky about Beethoven and about German composers in general. Debussy said that with a few exceptions, Beethoven's works should have been allowed to rest. And when it came to Richard Wagner, he said that Wagner's music was a beautiful sunset that people mistook for a dollar. But speaking of snarky, that's the music of the immortal Johannes Brahms, who is described by the equally immortal Peter Ilyich Tchaikovsky as, and I quote, "a pot-bellied boozer, a self-inflated mediocrity who never expresses anything, or when he does, never expresses it fully." I'd love to tell you what Brahms said about Tchaikovsky, but according to one historian, Brahms considered Tchaikovsky shallow and self-indulgent, and didn't even take him seriously enough to consider him a rival. Oh well, these days we love them both. And it wasn't on Thanksgiving, but Brahms and Tchaikovsky did once manage to sit down to dinner together. For NPR News, I'm Miles Hoffman.
Oh, thank you for that, Miles. He is the violist of the American Chamber Players and the author of the new book, Inside the World of Classical Music, 205 illuminating mini-essays. This is Morning Edition from NPR News. Happy Thanksgiving. I'm Rachel Martin.
And I'm Steve Inskeep.